Emanuel said, Fred hits out at strange Ralph hiring. That one was a very interesting one story, actually. The Mirror have gone with that one as well, Fred Raw. So basically, Fred has come out and said this about Ralph Rangnick's appointment. And I'll ask you whether you think this is advised or not, or if he should be free to say it. He said this: it's a bit strange. I know in football it's important to get good results as soon as possible, but it's also important to have a long-term plan. It's a bit bad for us not to have one. At the moment, it's all about the short-term goals. We don't know how it's going to be after the end of this season. It's about having better football planning at the club. Which, the last line for me, I was like, woof, you might be in a bit of trouble with that. I mean, I kind of, there's a part of me that goes, yeah, you know what, say it how it is, because you guys are the players that are having to play. Or 𝗵𝗿𝗱 with your manager hat on.
Scored a goal, have we, Fred?
Is that...
I know.
Is that a really bad thing to say? Come out and say that.
Listen, if he's speaking his mind, it's difficult to say you're not allowed to do that or it isn't good. Having said that, I'm not sure it's ideal when your players start questioning things up above, you know what I mean? You got to appreciate these are his opinions, but do you know what I mean? If you're a manager, it's done Ralph Rangnick no favours at all, put it that way. If that's the question you're asking me from a manager's point of view, it's not done him any favours. Not for the first time as a Man United player come out and said something that he's probably going to have to address at a press conference, if you know what I mean.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Ralph Rangnick, not only is he dealing with things that are happening on the pitch and trying to just get this team into a good position in the small period of time that he does have, he's probably 3 or 4 now public back and forth with players like this.
I just don't get it, though. Like, you've had an amazing performance against Leeds. You know, you've battered Leeds. You've got a big game tonight. Stop talking, Ali. Like, just get your head down, get your recovery done the next day. You're flying out to probably Madrid the day after. Why are these players talking so much? I don't get it. Honestly, like, if you're talking, talk about Atletico Madrid game, how much you want to get through in the Champions League. Stop talking about things you don't need to. If I'm the manager, I'm fuming. Let
me do the other side of the argument and represent the players a little bit, but, well, Fred in particular. With once their manager had been sacked, so once Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had been let go, you've got an interim manager for the interim manager. Yeah. So in one season, you know you're going to have at least 3 managers. So are they getting to the point where they're just a bit fed up because it has to change constantly and you have to get used to people's new ideas? Or as a player, should you just be paid to do that and do your job?
Yeah, just go out there and put in performances. He come on against Leeds, he was outstanding, changed the game, got his goal, Ali. Look forward to the next game. Go out tonight and put in a performance again if you're starting. You don't have to comment on certain things. Like, leave that to people higher up, or the captain of Manchester United might be able to come out and speak about it later on in the season. But I just don't understand now that if I'm Rangnick, I'm thinking, oh, here we go, Ali, another little player is talking. Like,
absolutely.
Just shut up and just keep performing on the pitch.
Ali, the timing of it a little bit strange as well, because I'd understand it if they were off the back of a bad loss, but off the back of a good win.
Well, you can maybe argue from his point of view it's the right time to do it. From the player's point of view, it's the right time to do it, because if he does it after a bad result, it might sound like an excuse. However, I think Gabby's right. You know something? Do your talking on the pitch. Just get out there and play. Get yourself back in the team. Okay, you come on and did well, scored a good goal, saw it, excellent. But you know something? Going to do that maybe 4 or 5 times in like 6 games in a row or whatever it may be, instead of just saying you're going to do this, you're not happy with that. I just think sometimes maybe it's our job in the press and the media nowadays, would you in particular, to go and try and get these wee snippets so that we can talk about them. So maybe he's been caught off guard a little bit, but from Man United's point of view, from Rangnick's point of view, it's just another one, because you have to address it now at the press conference.
Can I ask, these comments, if you had a scale of 0 to 10 with how bad they are for the club, in comparison to what Romelu Lukaku said, where he went, and I know it's a different situation because he's gone and sought out an interview and has said what he said, but those comments were released later than maybe 3 weeks later than he actually did them live. How bad is this in comparison to what Romelu said? I
don't think it's as bad, but still, I just don't understand it, Laura. I feel that when I was playing at Aston Villa, the press officer would always stop me from doing any interview unless the club...
Is this Tommy?
Yeah, Tommy. Unless the club allowed it. And even then, during that interview, Ali, he'd be there and he'd know exactly what the questions are. So I don't know what's happened now in football where these players are going off and doing these crazy interviews because Fred, do you talking on the pitch? You're not like one of the biggest players at Manchester United where you even got a say for me.
Yeah.
Like I don't know about you, Al. You've been a manager. What would you feel like if this was one of your players?
What would you do as well?
Exactly.
Well, there's not a lot you can do other than get him in and ask him to explain his comments and have a chat with him, you know, because effectively I don't think there's anything he said that's wrong. You know what I mean? Really. Because it is a bit strange. The quote is, I know it's a bit strange. I know in football it's important to get good results as soon as possible, but it's also important to have a long-term plan. It's a bit bad for us not to have one. So, if you take those comments that he's made, I think we're probably all in agreement that they're probably correct. You know, so this is the problem. Although, when he says it, he's been very honest, so we can't have it both ways. Although, from Ralph Rangnick's point of view, he knows that the comments are probably the general feeling from maybe the majority of his playing staff. But getting put out in the public domain, it gives him a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, and in a way, looking at them, they're not necessarily offending Ralph Rangnick personally. It's more what's happened. So it's more the situation that's led to Ralph being appointed that he's saying it's weird that we don't have a long-term plan, basically. Maybe we need a bit better planning at the football club, because I suppose they have no clarity as well. The players don't know whether or not it's going to be him or somebody else. So yeah, I mean, we want footballers to be honest, don't we? We want them to come out and tell us everything. Because it gives us something to talk about.
I get that.
But it doesn't do many favours for the club.
I just see it as like, look at the timing for it. Like, you've just beaten Leeds, great performance, everyone's on a high. You're travelling to Madrid for a massive game. And then little things like this maybe can be taken differently by media outlets. So I just don't understand it. And maybe Rangnick might say to his players, you know what, that's it. If you're not talking about the game and how you played, don't talk.
No more media for you guys.
Talking. Like, look at Conte. He's been told he can't do any interviews in Italy now, can he? Because he got taken out of context. So that's what might happen with a club with Manchester United.
There's also something in here where you could suggest it's been taken out of context, but I don't. Having read it, I'm not sure it has. I think he's pretty clear with what he means in this, actually. But I don't think it's a wild statement to make. But you're right. It's just whether or not it's needed at the moment for Manchester United.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.